Well, first of all, before we get looking ahead to what you're up to at the moment, let's just have a look at the season's ended now, a couple of weeks down the line. You've obviously assessed it all. What are your conclusions?
Yeah, we've had a good look at it and done our little bits and bobs for the board, and we've shown improvements in some of the areas that we wanted to. Probably like a lot of other teams that were in and around us, thinking that they're leaving points out there. And could have picked up a few more wins. Our away form has to get better. I think we were 6 for home form, so there's always room to improve if you've got somewhere to go. But certainly our away form needs to look slightly better. But speaking to managers in the off season, the short period we've had, everyone in that same 5 or 6 teams is thinking exactly the same. So a tough league. To break into that, and one or two, towards the end, the last couple of months really pulled away. But it'll be tough again next year with what's come up and what's coming down. We have to get everything right going into next season.
As we all know, apart from those who are involved in the playoffs, the season has completely ended for everyone. You're busy now announcing your retain list, and you've done that yourselves in the last couple of days. And you've had to make some big decisions as well. Yeah,
so I spoke to the players the day after the Cambridge game, and I said I think it was important that we did that. And we had to make some big calls. There's players there that I'd probably like to have kept. We have to make way in the budget to try and freshen things up and try and move us forward. I really do try and keep some continuity with players that I've had for the last 3 years. I really try and keep that. We're working hard to be able to keep that in the future by talking to players about extending deals, etc. But now it's important trying to bring players in. Probably only bring a couple permanent players in and build around that. And some of the young players are going to have to really step up. But we've got to rebuild, and it'll take some time. Obviously, we're looking at players. We're in this morning looking, but we're going to have to be patient with that in terms of where we're at with the spending, and we're going to have to make sure we get it right.
Well, you've got some good news already, because Adrian Thibault has signed his new contract as well, and the new deal is here for a couple of more years now, and you must be pleased that one's done and dusted.
Yeah, really pleased for Adrian. He doesn't waste a day's training. He's infectious. He works hard. What he's shown over the last 6 months from his loan coming back to Crewe is he's developing and learning and taking things on. You take what happened when he unfortunately got sent off. I thought it was very harsh. We had a conversation about that afterwards, and he just adapted, because what we don't want to stop is him being that handful he is, putting himself around and getting his arms in the way and his body in the way. But he's showing more quality, and now he's got that 2 years contract. He can just settle down a little bit and really focus on that development. But we're really pleased for him. Like I say, a good story coming from where he's come from and being able to now play professional football.
As we all know, we're all spectators, we're all fans of the game, of the football club. We all have our own opinions. What goes into you making those final decisions on the people that you're offering contracts to?
Yeah, well, with the younger players, a lot of it's pathways in terms of what we have at the football club. We also have to think unselfishly. It might not seem it to some of the younger players, but what is actually going to be best for them? Are they going to be able to forge a career quickly, being away from Crewe? We've got no under-21 football now. The reserve games, if you like, bounce games will be less because of the numbers we'll have, which we're trying to avoid getting the under-18s playing in them games so they can have a more settled week. That was the plan. So we're trying to be unselfish as well, thinking, are they going to play in our first team, or what's better for them to develop a career quickly? And when you make them decisions, you're wrong. You hope, because they're good lads, you hope they're wrong. I'm wrong. And they go out there and they rip it up, and in a few years' time, you see them playing in the Football League. But a lot goes into it in terms of what minutes they're going to get. With some of the older players, some of them I'd have liked to have kept. I certainly would have liked to do that, but where we work within ways of freshening up the squad and trying to move things forward, unfortunately, means you have to make tough decisions. I I spoke just earlier about the continuity and the environment that I think we've built at the football club. That's the most important thing to me, is trying to keep that. Marchie's added to that, Ian's added to that, they bought into that, Reece has bought into that. So it's them type of players trying to keep for a little bit longer now to keep that ethos of what we're trying to do going forward. But the tough decisions, but I think the decisions that we needed to give early, so they knew exactly where they're at. People have relocated and now might have the opportunity to go back to where they're from, and people have got kids, and it's important they know where they're at, so they've got plenty of time to plan for the future.
We all know that it broke a few weeks ago about going into Cat 3 with the academy, and of course there's been a big change there, hasn't there? I think there's only been one retained, and I guess that's a hard part of the job that you had to master. Yeah,
well, the process for that doesn't change. You forget Owen has come out of that group as well. So yes, he signed a pro earlier, but he's still come out of that group, and the process is exactly the same. I don't see them players enough to make the decisions, the final decision. I make the final decision, but make a strong enough opinion. I don't see them enough. We sit down in a room, we get feedback off the sports science section, all that type of stuff in terms of what their numbers look like and the physicality type of point of view. And then it's down to the coaches. The academy manager will be in on that, and they'll make decisions. And Patrick come out of the pack in terms of some potential there to perhaps work with. Now we've got to come up with a plan for him. He can obviously play down an age group into the 18s, which he's going to have to do because it's an under-19s league. You can do that, but we've got to make sure we've got a plan. So taking 2 out of an age group, it isn't that bad really.
You've also got quite a lot of players who've played a lot of first-team football expiring their contracts. Any updates?
Not really, not at the minute. It's pretty early really yet, isn't it? So no updates with that. Some have gone away on holiday, so I'm not banging down the doors at the minute. They'll have offers over to them, and then we just take it from there. But hopefully we can get them types of situations sorted. We need to look after them players properly. They're not 18-year-olds anymore. So we need to look after them players properly in terms of length of contract, financially as well. I think it's important that we do that.
You said farewell to some good professionals, Shiloh Tracy, Jack Powell, Umar Bogle, Charlie Finney, people like that have all departed the football club. But you've got to get on with it now, and it's down to try and rebuild. Yeah,
and look, it's tough as well, isn't it? Because the players, the people you've just mentioned there are fantastic people, and I mean that, fantastic people. So part of the job also is taking that emotion away from it. But the fantastic people, they've been a great help to us as a management team. The improvements that I feel we've made as a football club in the last 3 years, they've been part of. And I thank them for that, and I'm sure they'll be really successful. Shiloh, obviously a tough one. We've not seen him really for 12 months, but we had a good discussion, me and Shiloh, and hopefully he can go on to new things and really kick on, because he's been fantastic to get back into the position he's at. He'll go off and have a full pre-season with somebody. Jack Powell, extremely tough one. Obviously someone I rely on quite heavily, and someone we want to speak to. I can't speak highly enough of Jack, and there's still plenty of football to offer a league club 100% in that. And Omar's just been terrific since he's been brave enough to speak about what we have a fantastic relationship. He was in the gym the other day and I was in there, and we're just having a good chat about one or two things, and really pleased for him. He's got that glow in his skin, which he needs, showing that he's healthy, and I just wish them all the best. They've been really good for the football club. Whether they've played enough minutes is down to me sometimes, but the things that they do off the pitch in terms of what we're trying to create at this training ground, I can't thank them enough for it.
Football quickly changes if things develop, and one player that I'm pretty sure that you've still got thoughts about is where it's all happened for Zach Williams, because he's another one on the release list.
Yeah, well, Zach, I've tried to stay in touch with Zach. Zach knows what I think of him. I texted him the other day. He texted me back. We're going to have a meet up when his season's finished. I want to sit down with him and have a cup of coffee and see his thoughts going on to the future. Look, there's so much potential in there with Zach, and now he'll hopefully have a clear head in terms of where he wants to be at. But again, that potential's there for Zach. He knows what I think of him. and I wish him nothing but good luck, and I'll meet up with him in the next couple of weeks when he's finished his season. I'll go and have a coffee with him and see what his thoughts are.
Phil Croker and Finn Roberts were out on loan quite a bit last season, of course. Is there a plan for those lads? Yeah,
there is. Well, we'll assess it over pre-season. We'll assess what we're able to sign and bring into the football club. With that, they've had good loans. Phil's really established himself at Chester. Whether he stays with us in and around the first team, which there is a possibility of that happening, or we look to get him a National League loan for a short period of time to see how he is, and then look to introduce him into the first team. With that, Finn, we hope to have a real plan with him in terms of he will probably go out on a loan. We feel he's shown development, but we need to get him to where he's playing games. Again, there's no 21s football. The bounce games will be few and far between. So they can go on short loans. We've got to find that gap when we've got enough players fit, etc. We've got to find that gap in that schedule to be able to allow them to go out on loan where they're going to play and start flourishing and developing that area that we need them to. So there is a plan for both, but both could quite easily change depending on what we're able to sign.
And the one thing is sometimes when transfer deadline days are arriving, you have those phones turned off. But is the phone switched on for agents to talk to you?
Yeah, well, I had a few days away the other day and I put it on aeroplane mode during the day. But no, look, we're talking to agents. There's a player that I'm really keen to try and get in who wants to come. So we're talking to his agent. But Josh is working hard. With it, like I say, I think this year it's about just being that little bit more patient, making sure we're getting the right deals, making sure we're getting the right personalities to come in the football club. With some big shoes to fill with the lads that we've had to release this year, or let go, should I say, not just release, let go. So we're going to be patient with it, and hopefully we can get everything aligned in terms of the players that we want, and we're successful in that area. But don't expect over the next 2 to 3 weeks an influx of players, because there won't be. We're going to have to really pick this wisely in terms of who we're looking to bring in.